You've probably heard about the federal government's just transition policy, a transition away from oilfield work. But I don't believe that it is just. If Ottawa wants to take energy workers earning $150,000 a year and put them into jobs yielding half that, you could call the transition a lot of things, but certainly not any word that means fair, equitable, or just. Yet that's what the Liberal government is planning to do now to Canada's energy workers. A lot of them in Alberta, of course, but by no means all of them. Nationally, oil and gas means, directly and indirectly, more than 500,000 jobs to this country. More than a third of them are outside Alberta. Same with the money. Oil and gas is worth nearly $140 billion to Canadian GDP. But again, a lot of the money invested developing energy out west, energy all Canadians need, is actually spent in central Canada. And with the money go the jobs. 71,000 in Ontario, 20,000 in Quebec, more in the Atlantic provinces. As I said, more than 500,000 Canadians depend on oil and gas to pay their taxes and feed their families, just like the old bumper sticker said. So if the just transition turns out to be unjust, it's a national problem. So why do the Liberals want a transition anyway? The official government line is that Canada must lead the world in lowering carbon emissions, and to do that, we have to move everything gas-powered, cars, trucks, home heating, over to electrical power. The transition then will be to green jobs. So much for the official line. The unofficial line, as we know, is that the oil sands must be phased out. The Prime Minister said it, then said he misspoke. But over the last 7 years, Mr. Trudeau has been killing pipelines, chasing tankers away from the West Coast, not the East, using regulations to make it more expensive for oil and gas producers to operate, and putting potentially valuable exploration lands out of reach in national parks. So what does that look like to you? It's a transition, all right, but a just transition? If you ever had any doubts about federal good faith, keep in mind how Canadian gas producers were shut down after they pointed out that the more Canadian gas they could sell to China, the fewer coal-fired generators China would have to build. Like carbon dioxide is borderless. Less carbon dioxide emitted worldwide is a net gain for all of us, right? Well, in fact, shouldn't Canadian gas producers get green credits for doing that? Not a chance for this government. It's like they want to show the world they can make it work, whether it has a global impact or not. And if Canadians suffer, tough. Is this for bragging rights in Davos? Who knows? You wonder sometimes. So Justin Trudeau's just transition plan is going ahead. It'll kill us here in Alberta, of course, but for him, perhaps that's a small price to pay. It's not like so many people here vote Liberal. Here's the thing, though. Where are these green jobs, these great green jobs, going to come from? The largest manufacturers of driven generators are not in Canada, they're in Europe and they're in China. Same goes for solar panels. That could change, perhaps, if the government put enough money into it. But why should they? Trudeau's Liberals chase away $150 billion in private investment for the oil patch. But if we're not going to live in a world of brownouts without end, they'll need to make massive investments of taxpayer funds in the green grid. So there could be some jobs, perhaps expanding the grid, maybe. But nobody seems to be doing much about it at the moment. And the question, therefore, for something like 140,000 Canadians from Atlantic Canada to BC is just transition? Transition to what? Raking leaves? In other words, just transition is just a fraud, a sugary cover for a bitter pill. This is intended to hurt. For the Western Standard, I'm Nigel Hannaford.
The current Lethbridge feed grain prices are as follows. Cash barley is down $2 at $4.35. Feed wheat is unchanged at $4.42. And corn is up $3 at $443 per ton. In the milling wheat markets, March Minneapolis futures are up a penny at $9.13, with local hard red spring bid for February movement at $11.55 per bushel. In the oil seeds, nearby canola futures slipped $1.20, at $841.20 per ton, with delivered values for February movement at $18.85 per bushel. In the pulse markets, nearby red lentil prices remain at 33 cents per pound, and yellow peas are trading at $13.50 per bushel. In the cattle markets, February live cattle are down 25 cents at $157.30 per hundredweight. For more information on pricing and picked up options, please call 403-394-1711. I'm David Lee at Marketplace Commodities, accurate real-time marketing information and pricing options.
Canadian Shooting Sports Association. Without the CSSA, our gun rights would have been taken long ago. These guys are on the front lines helping to draft smart and intelligent firearms regulations and legislation in Canada, and more importantly, educating the public about how we keep guns out of the hands of the wrong people. To become a member, it's absolutely worth every penny. You can become a Western Standard member for just $10 a month or $99 a year for unlimited access.